Welcome to the Suffolk County Community Development Office public hearing on the 2020 through 2024 Consolidated Plan. Next. For purposes of background, the Suffolk County Consortium is an entitlement community under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Consolidated programs. The consortium receives annual allocations of funding for HUD programs, including the Community Development Block Grant Program, or CDBG, the Home Investment Partnership Program, or HOME. And this means that every 5 years, the county must prepare a 5-year consolidated plan and analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. For 2020, for 1 year, not the 5 years, but the 1 year, the anticipated funding is for CDBG, it's $1.4 million, and for the home program, it's $757,000. Next slide. This slide lists the 13 communities that are part of the Suffolk County Consortium. So Suffolk County is not a direct grantee, it is a consortium. So there are 13 different communities that opt in to be part of the consortium and receive HUD funds through Suffolk County. The town of Huntington is a member of the consortium only for the home program, not for CDBG. Next slide. The purpose of today's virtual public hearing is to gather public input on the following 3 items. The 5-year consolidated plan. What we are looking for is to find out what the county's housing needs are and what the county's non-housing community development needs are. For the 2020 annual plan, the annual plan is the first year in the 5-year plan. So we're looking for specifics on the 2020 annual plan as to how should the county spend the CDBG funds and how should the county spend home funds. For the analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, which again is done every 5 years, we're looking to find out what your thoughts on fair housing are in the consortium and what should be included in the analysis of impediments as far as information or data or issues and opportunities for fair housing throughout the consortium. Next slide. This is a list of the CDBG eligible activities. HUD has very specific regulations about what types of activities are permitted under the CDBG program, and the county can only fund eligible activities. These include acquisition of real property, disposition of real property, public facilities and improvements, clearance activities, public services, payment of non-federal share of projects, urban renewal completion, relocation activities, housing services, construction of housing, home ownership assistance, microenterprise assistance, technical assistance, assistance to institutions of higher learning, residential rehabilitation, commercial rehabilitation, code enforcement, historic preservation, and renovation of closed buildings, lead-based paint activities, direct assistance to businesses, and job creation and/or retention, primarily to benefit low and moderate income persons, and leveraging of CDBG funds. Again, there are other requirements associated with all of these activities, but these are typical eligible activities under CDBG. Next slide. All activities are required to comply with HUD's national objectives. This means that every activity under the CDBG program must meet one of 3 broad national objectives of the CDBG program. They have to either benefit low and moderate income persons, prevent or eliminate slums or blight, or they have to meet a community need having a particular urgency. Most activities you will find typically benefit low and moderate income persons. The other 2 parameters are less often applied. Next slide. For the home program, home eligible activities, again, these are based on HUD regulations. HUD has very specific regulations about which projects, what types of projects are eligible. Under the home program, incentives to develop and support affordable rental and home ownership through acquisition, new construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation of non-luxury housing, tenant-based rental assistance. The home program also pays for payment of reasonable administrative and planning costs and operation expenses of community housing development organizations, or CHODOs. Next slide. The 5-year consolidated plan for the period 2020 through 2024 is a collaborative process aimed at identifying a unified vision for community development actions to be undertaken during the 5-year period. The consolidated plan, based on HUD requirements, includes 3 major sections: the strategic plan, which has an analysis of data and needs, and it also establishes priorities and goals for the 5-year period. Under the Fair Housing Plan, or analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, we'll get into that, I think, on one of the following slides. There's also an annual action plan, which is specific activities or project information for 2020 being the first year in the 5-year plan. So the 5-year plan is a more conceptual plan for spending over 5 years, and the annual action plan is specific activities to be funded in year 1 of the 5-year plan. Next slide. So for the 5-year plan, we look at what are the county's housing needs, and this is what we're trying to get comments on from the public. What are the county's housing needs? What are the county's non-housing community development needs? And we're looking to find out about needs relative to public services, public facilities and improvements, accessibility improvements, and economic development. Next. For the Fair Housing Plan, or the analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, also referred to as the AI, this is being done concurrently with the preparation of the 5-year plan, and it's an update to the prior AI, which was done in 2015. The Fair Housing Plan update is being undertaken by Suffolk County together with a Fair Housing Plan Committee, which consists of key representatives from Suffolk County agencies, fair housing advocacy agencies, and other nonprofit organizations. Subrecipients and contractors must take affirmative steps to promote fair and equal access to housing without regard to any of the protected classes. These can be federal, state, or local protected classes, and these include race, color, national origin, sex, religion, familial status, disability, marital status, sexual orientation, age, military status, creed, gender identity, gender expression, source of income, arrest, veteran status, status as a victim of domestic violence, or group identity. Next slide. For public comment, again, the purpose of today's public hearing is to solicit public comment. We are requesting input from the public, from consortium members, and from nonprofits and partners on housing needs in Suffolk County, on community development needs in Suffolk County, on fiscal year 2020 CDBG and home funding, and on fair housing issues and opportunities in Suffolk County. There is a Suffolk County housing survey, which is being undertaken as part of the effort to undertake the consolidated plan and the AI. And we are looking to gather public input. The Suffolk County's housing survey is live now, and anyone can participate. Again, consortium members, general public, nonprofits, CHODOs, partners are all encouraged to take the survey and to share the survey with others so that we can get as much input as possible. The survey will be live in both English and Spanish through April 2nd. And to be heard, you have to go to Suffolk County's website and take the housing survey. It is located at www.suffolkcountiny.gov/housing survey. And again, it is on the county's website. And the survey is live in English and in Spanish. Next slide. Public comments can be provided today during this public hearing. That is the purpose for having the live public hearing. We can receive comments and questions. And we will do our best to answer the questions, and we will certainly receive all comments, and comments will be considered as the consolidated plan, annual plan, and AI are being prepared. Written comments can be sent to Rosemary Four at Suffolk County Community Development Office. Her mailing address is listed there. They can also, comments can also be emailed to Rosemary at rosemary.4pforr@suffolkcountynY.gov. The draft consolidated plan and AI will be available for public review and comment from April 30th to May 31st before submission to HUD. There will also be another public hearing. The date has yet to be scheduled. It will be in early May. We have not scheduled the exact date as of yet. But again, all draft documents will be available for public review and comment from April 30th through May 31st, 2021, before submission to HUD. All comments are welcome. Comments will be reflected in the final documents as submitted to HUD. Next slide. So thank you. If there is anyone that has any public comments, we would appreciate them. Again, you can submit them by email or in writing, or you can raise your hand and we will take comments, questions right now.
Folks, if you are joining on a computer or a mobile device, down at the bottom of the screen, you will see a raise hand button. That will give us a notification that you would like to submit a question or comment. We'll call you by your name when your name comes up in the queue. If you're dialing in by telephone, you can do that by pressing *9, and we'll call you by the last 3 digits of your phone number. You can also use the Q&A box down at the bottom of your screen to type in a question or comment if you would prefer to do that.
And while we're waiting for any comments, again, we're taking comments on the consolidated plan, the annual action plan, and on the AI. So we're looking for housing needs, community development needs, and also, excuse me, for fair housing questions, comments, issues, opportunities, recommendations. We're looking for all of this information. Questions or comments can be submitted today. They can be submitted in writing or emailed to Rosemary, and all information will be reflected in the final documents as submitted to HUD. Those final documents will also, drafts of those documents will be available to the public in April and May before being submitted to HUD. There will be another public hearing, but the purpose of today's public hearing is to solicit your input and comments. Sean, are there any hands raised?
We do not have any raised hands or questions in the queue.
And this is being recorded, correct, Sean? So we will be able to provide a recording of this public hearing, and the county will be able to have it on their website in case anyone wishes to view it afterwards.
Yes, this is being recorded.
Okay. All right. I'd like to leave everyone with just a reminder. Please take the housing survey. It is live through April 2nd. That's a Friday. So it's only about 3 weeks. It went live just the other day, and it will be live for 3 weeks. It is a short survey, only about 14 questions. Will not take very long. It's available in English and Spanish. And the information that we garner from the survey will be very useful in the consolidated plan and the AI. It focuses on housing affordability. It focuses on community development and on fair housing. So that information is very useful to us. And it is, you don't have to put your name in there. It can be anonymous. So we encourage you to take the survey, share the survey with others that you live nearby, neighbors, friends, people that you work with, your constituents, and folks you know that want to provide their input relative to housing and community development and fair housing in Suffolk County. Any other comments from anyone on the panel? All right, thank you so much for joining us today.